What's up, guys, and welcome back to Silver Screen Shenanigans podcast, where we sit down, watch a movie, and give our own takes. The question of the day is, if you had to choose your own color combination of the Iron Man suit, what would it be? For me, it's it's like the regular color patterns, but swap out the red for blue and swap out the gold for black.
So,
because I think it would look sick.
That would be pretty cool. I'm Riley, and I think mine would have to just be all black, because then you can be you can fly at night and be super stealth. That way, it's just more fun, you know.
Hi, my name's Jacob. I was actually debating on this one, so I had two options. One, black and gold, because black and gold look sick together, right? And then the second option would have been red and black. And I don't know which one I want the more primary color, but both ways look sick in general.
I think I having just the arc reactor being completely red would be super cool.
Having the eyes would be red too.
Yeah,
but I guess that's Ultron. Wasn't that Ultron's thing?
I think so, but he was more chrome and red.
I guess, yeah.
So, as you might have guessed, we're going to be talking about Iron Man today. And it's very fun because this is obviously the first one that I watched as a kid, way back in the day, because this is the first one that came out.
What about the Hulk?
I'm pretty sure this was first.
I don't know. I feel like the Hulk was first.
Well, okay, I'll look it up right now.
This up.
2008 was Iron Man.
2008 was?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Hulk was out first. I remember the Hulk way before. I had the Hulk fist and everything as a kid.
It was also 2008.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Now you got to get the month.
So you got June 13th to May 2nd.
Oh, which one?
I have no idea. I don't know the months.
Bro, I can almost guarantee that it was Iron Man because Tony Tony shows up at the end of Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, it's Tony. Iron Man first.
Dang it.
And he basically shows up and tells Thaddeus Ross to loser, you want to join the Avengers?
Who's Thaddeus Ross?
He's the guy. He's the old army dude in Incredible Hulk.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it. But yeah, so it was kind of starts it off, and the whole story behind RDJ getting this part is super cool because he was super into drugs, got arrested a bunch of times. Hollywood had basically you're done. We don't want you anymore. But then Jon Favreau, who plays Happy Hogan in all these movies, and also has directed a bunch of great stuff, Mandalorian. He gave Tony one more chance, and then boom, he's Iron Man.
I believe also heard a story was he's only gonna walked in with a beard that day. It was super untrimmed and whatnot, and kind of looked like Tony Stark in general, the image. And he just had the attitude I don't give an F, which is whole Tony Stark's persona at the beginning of his journey, and which was another thing that landed him the part.
I didn't know any of this. That's awesome.
Bro, you should watch FX movies sometimes. They give you a lot of good stuff.
But then you gotta sit through them talking while you're trying to watch a movie.
That's also
They
true.
go to commercial break for 30 minutes, and it's just them talking about the movie.
So yeah, that's kind of how we start off, with Tony in the back of this this Humvee or whatever,
playing Back in
Black, with these he has an army escort, and they're going someplace we don't exactly know, but he is so arrogant, but he is so funny. He's just owning the scene, and he's just bouncing off of these army dudes, and he mistakes the one for he thought the one was a guy, and he's like, "Oh, you're a girl? I did not know you were a girl until this exact moment."
Didn't you say that was all rifted?
I think this first part was Jon Favreau just kind of letting RDJ just kind of say whatever until something stuck.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's all good times, until they get blown up by terrorists.
They were about to take a picture, and he's like, "Can I throw up?" He throws up the peace sign. He's like, "No gang signs."
No, please, I love peace. I'd be out of a job with peace. And then, so yeah, they get blown up by terrorists. They tell him to stay in the car, which doesn't really work out because the car gets blown up.
Yeah, no, everybody in the car dies.
Everybody dies. And then Tony like runs like a couple feet away, like next to this dirt mound. But then a missile lands next to him, and it says Stark Industries on it. And then it blows up, and then he gets like shrapnel in his chest and everything. And
see, I didn't realize that like people brand missiles. So like, is that real? Like, do people actually like put like, if Ford, like the company made a missile, would it just be like Ford Industries?
I don't think so. I
Probably
think it's
not.
just because
Is
of
it just
Tony
'cause-
Stark. But
Okay.
like
They-
they do have identifications on them, but they're more like numbers, not like
Yeah.
the industry name.
Okay.
they just wanted they just want the audience to know that's like this is his missile.
That makes sense.
So
he gets blown up,
mhm.
and then it's like a fever dream
Of him like
being healed.
Like-
Sort of.
like yeah, going through like surgery, like bad surgery, just all these sorts of things, and then it's like the bag is like torn off his head,
Yeah.
and then which it's a pretty cool little scene because like RDJ has to go from like shock, like all in his face in like a matter of seconds. He goes from like shock, sadness, like where am I? Like you can see it all in his face, and then I'm pretty sure, and then it's like screen goes black, and then boom, Iron Man.
Yeah. And then it says, what is it, 36 hours earlier?
Yeah. Which I'll admit I did think that was kind of weird. Instead of like a linear storytelling, they like go to this part and then they jump back, and then like a couple minutes later we'll just be back at the same point again.
I think it's probably like a 2008 thing, because I mean, you wouldn't really start watching
Like a
movie-
cliffhanger.
Yeah, you wouldn't really start watching
or like
a
a
movie or get
attention
into
grabber. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's another thing too. Like the reason why we didn't have a lot of superhero movies until that point because no one liked them. Like there's
Yeah.
not a big audience for them, so I feel
Well,
like they had.
What do
like,
you mean
bombed.
there
They
was
bombed.
bro? There was Spawn. There was Daredevil.
never
There
seen
was
it,
there
never
was
seen it.
Blade.
Never seen it. I mean, these are all movies that I will.
I know Blade did pretty well, but everything else pretty much
Everything
didn't
else
take off,
bombed.
right? So I feel like they had to grasp their audience at the beginning, so they didn't lose them before.
Which Blade's coming back, which is pretty
Yes,
sick.
that was pretty cool.
Probably not the same actor because he got arrested for tax fraud, but
I feel like that would be even more
Tax
reason
write
to.
off. You know, you do acting job. It's a tax
Well, also for
write-off.
the fact he is semi up there in age, you know. Now he can't do the same flips and stuff he was
yeah,
doing.
old Wesley Snipes.
Well, look at Doc Ock, I guess, right?
Heck
Well,
yeah.
He had animatronics and CGI helping him. He just stood there while his arms did the work.
He was still doing the. So then we learned pretty quickly that Tony is a prominent money weapons manufacturer, and it's like big money. And that one reporter, you get the sense of like, Tony, like he knows what people think about him. Like the name they give him is the Merchant of Death. He's like, yeah, that one's not bad. I kind of like that name.
I guess it opens up on him at a Las Vegas thing getting a reward, or an
Yeah.
award, right? And he's not even there. So
He's
he gets
gambling.
He gets this huge reward. He's not there, and then his buddy, I don't remember his name.
Rhodey.
Yeah, changing the actors messes me up on who it is.
Yeah.
So Rhodey comes and gives him his award while he's playing craps on the table.
And I love it as they're like walking out of the building. He gives it to like a guy like dressed up as Caesar. He just gives it to him because he doesn't want it. He doesn't care. Oh, and then he runs into
Then he runs into the lady.
Stanley,
the
right?
reporter
Oh.
and Stanley. Yeah.
There's Stanley's first. Well, I guess would that be his first?
Probably.
It's 2008. I think it's his first
I'll look it
cameo, and he goes, "All right, Hugh." Like,
Calls him Hugh Hefner. Yeah.
So then he takes home the reporter,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's kind of his life. Is just like drinking, gambling, women. Lots of women. And then so like Tony
Not a
is
bad life. Not a bad life.
not a terrible life.
but not a good one either.
He's sort of set in his ways where he's like, yeah, no, I'm a weapons manufacturer, and I know I sell it to good people that are fighting the good fight. And he's like, so he's totally content with that.
I got a question. I just got to interrupt here because we asked about his cameo, right? His first one was in Hulk when he walked. He was walking with the security guard who was the original Hulk for the TV show.
Oh
And guess
yeah.
when this Hulk was? 2003. So it was the first.
So the original Hulk?
The original Hulk. What are
Oh.
you talking about?
See, I was talking about the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Not just Hulk.
Too bad that's not part of the MCU though.
Yeah. But that's his first cameo.
Yeah. Oh, what's his name?
Mark Ruffalo?
No. The guy who played the original Hulk. He was like Lou Ferrigno. That dude was jacked.
They
And
just
the- and
floofed his hair and painted him green.
Yep, and he's the Hulk.
Made
Yeah.
him a little bit bigger. They made him a little bigger. and
60s.
they-
The superheroes in the 60s, like TV shows and movies, were.
How did Batman make it back then? Like, the man didn't even have a nose. They just kind of, like, painted on his mask.
Hey, man, I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Different times.
Was that Adam West Batman?
Adam West, R.I.P. So
he gets taken. He takes the reporter home,
Yep.
and then the next morning she wakes up to the alarm.
yeah,
And Pepper, she walks downstairs looking for Tony. Pepper walks in with her dry cleaned clothes. So that's how often this happens. They start dry cleaning the ladies' clothes before. And they're in California. They were in Las Vegas when the night started.
How do you think he got there? I think he drove all the way there? Because I don't think he has, like, all the jets and stuff, like, to his place, you know?
I don't know.
Because, like, if it was in the later movies, I feel like he just would have flown straight to his house, right? But, like, this case, I don't know.
I think he could have did either way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, Pepper, he's like, I do everything for Mr. Stark, including taking out the trash. And I was like, ooh,
That was a good
Pepper.
line.
Ooh, Pepper.
Got him. Yeah. So,
And then it cuts back to him in the cave.
well, I mean, it's his basement. It's not really a cave. It'd be pretty cool if it was a cave, like Batman.
No, like
But-
they go back to the cave where like him and Jensen are trapped
Oh,
in.
that cave. Gotcha. Dude, I was thought no, because doesn't it goes down into his basement when Pepper's like, yeah, I got rid of the reporter, and then she's like, you have to leave in like 5 minutes, because that's when he was supposed to go and do the weapons demonstration.
Oh, and he shows up late.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he shows off Jericho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he shows off this weapon called Jericho, and it blows up. I'd say it blows up an entire mountain.
It's like a missile that breaks off into several different missiles, and then big explosion.
Big boom.
I don't know much.
Big win for military. Yes.
I don't know much about military weaponry because I'm not in the military. But is that like a real thing?
They show off weapons.
No, like the rocket. Like is
Oh,
there-
Jericho? I don't know.
Is there a real one like that? You think?
I mean, there has to be, right? They've got flares that stop heat-seeking.
They
missiles
haven't
and
Call of
stuff.
Duty, so it must be real.
True. also true. Call of Duty is very accurate to real life. You seen Infinite Warfare? I'm pretty sure that one.
Yeah, obviously that happened somewhere.
Real one.
Then after that, the whole, boom, shrapnel and chest, and then he goes through the surgery thing. Yeah, and then it cuts to him like ripping off the bandages, and that's uncomfortable because like he just has this magnet in his chest, and it's like, ugh, that would be.
What I don't understand is how is he obviously it's probably insulated, but he then gets dunked into water.
Because they say the terrorists are like, build us the missile, and he's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
They walk him outside, and there's all of his stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, all of his weapons and stuff the terrorists have.
Guns, missiles, bombs, and so he's like, how'd they get these? Why do they have all these? We're not selling to these guys, so he's like super confused in that moment. And then the guy says, you'll build us the weapons, and then the guy's like, after that we'll let you go, and Tony's like, no, he won't.
And then what's his name? The doctor, his friend
Jensen.
Jensen goes, he won't.
Yeah, which that's a super kind of like scary situation to put yourself in. Like, you have a week to build this missile, and if you don't, you die, and when you do, you die.
Did they
Let's
ever
look at
say
next week.
why they needed it in a week? Was there something they wanted to do in a week? Or
Whatever.
I mean, I'm sure that they were like, give us because they ransomed him, right? we know that they ransomed him here, right?
No, not yet.
Okay, never mind.
I mean, whatever battle they're fighting, they probably just want to win it right now.
Yeah, that adds up.
But even then, you need more than one missile to win a war. Yeah, you can take out a giant troop, but
Maybe these
I mean,
terrorists.
did you see
Maybe
the
these
missile?
terrorists aren't the smartest.
No, yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. They couldn't tell that he was building something that wasn't a missile.
Yeah. So then, yeah, the first thing he does is build the very first. Well, not the very first, I should say, but like he builds a smaller arc reactor.
He builds the first small arc reactor.
And he puts that in his chest. And I think, yeah, Jensen says, he's like, that could power your heart for 50 lifetimes. And then Tony says there's something really big for 15 minutes. So yeah, then they kind of get the idea of, like it's.
Well, Tony decided to build a giant suit
Right.
to get out of there.
Yeah, they're no longer building a missile. They're gonna build a suit to get out of there. And yeah, terrorists aren't very smart because how do you not notice that they're
okay.
The
I
only
think
person that noticed was the actual like head guy because he saw him making like knee things that make his legs go, and he's like,
that's not a
"Where does
suit.
that go? Where does that go in a missile?"
well, like I think they played it off several ways. First off, with the whole suit thing, right? Like you guys are talking about the leg.
Yeah.
Well, I think
And also a helmet and a mask. Where does that go in a missile?
I think he had to play it off as like he needed it to help lift stuff and like support his legs. Second off, he needed the mask because they're doing a bunch of welding and like forge welding back there.
I guess.
Well, they never say any of that. So
Yeah.
Well, like you can infer that though. Like they're
and
messing
the only
with
way
a
that
bunch of
Jensen and the only way that Jensen lives is Tony says, "I need him."
Yeah,
Good
no, they were
assistant.
about to stick a hot piece of coal into the dude's mouth because he wasn't going to tell them what they were actually building.
And then Tony's like, "I need him," and then the terrorist's like, "Oh, okay. I forget about all the other things I was concerned with," and then he leaves. And then he's like, "You have one." He's like, "You have 1 day," and then you have 1 day to give him my missile, and that's it.
And instead of building a missile, they built an entire suit of armor.
And exactly.
So they build the armor, and then they're loading. I think they're loading like the mechanics for the arc reactor to talk with the suit so that it can move.
Mm-hmm.
So because there's like a loading bar on the screen, and we don't know really what it is. But
I think like you're talking about, like it's the same thing. It is mechanical. It is electrical because he's taking all the components from the rockets and stuff, which do have computers on them. But he obviously cannot move all that by himself, so he has to have the computer to help move his arms because he can't hit a button every time he wants to move an arm. Right. So it has to like work in in sync with the computer.
So he builds it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all done, and the guy, the people don't know where he's at. They're looking at the cameras. They don't see him, and they're like, "Go check on him right now." They go to open the door, and he's rigged it with an explosive.
Uh-huh.
So they try to open the door. Boom. 2 guys, done.
Dead.
Now there's an entire fleet of people trying to come to them. So Jensen grabs a gun.
Yep.
And he's like, we need more time because it's only at 50% power.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs it at 100 to go. So Jensen grabs a gun and runs off, shooting into the air.
Yeah, waste a lot of bullets, Jensen. What are you doing, my boy?
Yeah, no. He had to be out of bullets before he got to the second corner.
What are these terrorists doing? They're giving a super genius guy access to weapons and explosives for a week in a cave. They did not expect him to use them at all.
Like we said, they're not the brightest, not the smartest. Yeah, they just all they thought that he was just gonna build us a weapon
of mass destruction,
and yeah, not think to do anything else. So yeah, Tony like it finally powers up, and he's just it's a primitive suit of what we'll see later, but the mask itself is kind of a callback to the comic book suit. It's what the mask looks like in the like comic book Iron Man, because like the sort of face mask itself does like look a little different from like the one in the movie compared to one in the comic book. But he like breaks out, kills some terrorists, lights them on fire, blows some stuff up.
Dude, one of his like he shot a rocket out of his arm, and it looked like he was like striking an igniter behind the rocket, which was really cool because that's
Could have
like
been.
obviously it's not meant to be shot out of an
Right.
arm.
What one did he pull a string, like a cord, like on a grenade? Was that the flamethrower? Like he ripped cord?
I think those were the flamethrowers. But that wasn't until after our clip for this movie.
True. So as like Tony's busting his way out of there, like I remember like thinking back that too. It's like, you know, where's Jensen and all this chaos? And last time we saw him, he was like face to face with like 15 terrorists.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. It didn't look good.
So yeah, that's kind of the clip that we have for you guys.
Stop. Come on. We gotta go. Move with me. Come on, we got a plan. We're gonna stick to it.
This was always the plan, Stark.
Come on, you're gonna go see your family. Get up.
My family's dead. I'm going to see them now, Stark. It's okay. I want this. I want this.
Thank you for saving me.
Don't waste it. Don't waste your life.
Super sad.
R.I.P. Jensen. And also another thing, a line that he said beforehand, he told Tony, "You're a man with everything, but also with nothing."
Because Tony doesn't really know who he is, honestly.
Right. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't have anybody. He's just kind of alone. Like he has he has a guy we'll meet later, a little bit later, but he's just basically a business partner of his dad's. Like that's as close as it gets to.
Really, he has Pepper, and that's it.
Yeah.
His secretary. No, it's not secretary. His assistant, and that's all he has.
It's basically it. And so
after this, he walks out, ignites the flamethrowers on his suit, and burns everything. He burns all
people,
of their,
bombs.
Yeah. He started setting off just bombs.
Well, yeah, it lit a fire under it, but after watching his friend, saved his life. Tell him not to waste his life.
The guy who put the magnet in his chest to save him from the shrapnel.
Yep. And it's always fun to look back at these old movies and to see what's going to come like later down the line to like, you know, tell Tony not to waste his life. And it's good because we know that he doesn't. So yeah, everything's about to blow up. Like Tony's about to get engulfed in this explosion. So he like lifts up this panel on his arm and hits a big button, and like these rockets like shoot him up into the air.
This madman strapped giant rockets from a missile on his feet,
and like you can tell that the suit is
not meant.
Very primitive.
It's not meant to do this.
Because like it lasts for like maybe a couple seconds, and then he like
lands out when he's up in the air, dude.
And like he lands into the sand, and like it just like when he like lands in the sand, it like falls apart. It's totally broken.
As soon as he hits, everything falls off.
And then he's just kind of walking around the desert.
Yeah, and we get a pretty desperate. It's a pretty desperate scene of him just trying to get somewhere in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the U.S. helicopters fly over him, and he's saved.
How did they find him again? Did they say?
There's a big explosion.
The explosion for
yeah.
him.
I mean, I imagine they were looking for him anyway too. Like they were probably like they just didn't know where he was. Yeah. But then they're like, big explosion, maybe.
Something happened here. I'll tell you what.
Knowing Tony, that's definitely him.
And so Rhodey's on the helicopter, and then they rescue him. They get him back.
You get a sweet line where he goes, "Next time you're riding with me."
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, Rhodey could have been dead.
He would have been dead too.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Because they were strictly targeting Stark at that point.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yes. And then like a really quick line, I didn't catch it the first time, but Tony says, "I'm sorry, I've been trapped for 3 months." I'm like, yeah, 3 months.
3 months. So they didn't give him a week. They gave him 3 months.
Well, it's more like a thing where he was recovering from surgery and he had the whole shrapnel procedure done.
And also he needed stuff to like build things. Like that scene where like he's asking, he's like, I need this, I need this, I need this. So it probably took him a little while to get that stuff.
He didn't build an arc reactor in like one day. Right?
Yeah.
That was
But
a whole process.
that's still crazy to think about, though. Like, we'll see later, like, how his, like, genius, like, he's super arrogant, but, like, he can back up his talk because he's incredibly smart. Like, he built an arc reactor, like, within maybe a couple months. A little bit later, we're going to see also, like, how smart he is.
Yeah. So...
And then a fun scene with Burger King.
As soon as he gets back, he says, "Get a press conference and a burger."
I want a burger.
The burger first.
Well, he should be in the hospital.
Yes.
But he's going to go to a press conference and eat a Burger King. He's like, so the fun story about the why they chose Burger King, it's kind of like a knock to Burger King, but he when RDJ, like IRL, is like super down on his luck and drugs and stuff, he has nowhere to go. He goes to Burger King, and the sandwich he eats there, he recalls it was so disgusting, he threw it away, and it made him want to turn his life around.
Really?
Because he didn't want to live like that, eat like that anymore. And I'm like, so Burger King
Dude,
created Iron Man.
That's like the best story I've ever heard.
I can't remember. Which one of you guys don't like Burger King?
I love Burger King.
Is it you, Riley?
No,
Or is that Patty?
I bet it's
Someone
Patty.
despises
Yeah.
Burger King. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
I like, dude, Whoppers. 'Cause
Whoppers.
That's the only sandwich that they put mayo on.
Mm-hmm.
Like any restaurant anywhere puts mayo. It's just Burger King.
So then I love this heart to heart that he has with the media. Like, he's like, can we all sit down?
Sit on the ground. Sit on the ground.
And then so he sits down and then
there's no chairs.
No.
It's an impromptu. So everybody's sitting on the floor.
So he has a legit heart to heart. He was like, I saw a system. I saw Americans killed. I saw a system where my weapons had no accountability, and they were killing people indiscriminately. And he's like, I don't like that. I'm not down with that. And he's like, effective immediately, Stark Industries is shutting down its weapon manufacturing section. And then, hey, yo, Obadiah Stane. So his business partner, I guess,
His dad's business partner.
who's like with Tony. He's like, all right, well, he's in distress, so we'll see you guys later. It's like we have Tony back. That's the good news.
I think what we should take away from this is Tony's back and we're doing good. Like, that's all he said. So after that, I guess I'm lost here. Is Jebediah talk to Tony about it afterwards?
Is this the pizza scene? I can't remember.
That's what I don't remember.
I don't know.
They definitely talk.
We watched this one and the second one in a marathon, so I keep getting the second one and this one mixed.
I think right now, like, he's going to build a better suit is what he's doing right now.
No, he has to replace his heart. He's building a different arc reactor, I think. Right?
I bet you there's a talking scene somewhere in there, but it's honestly
then he
nothing.
asks Pepper what her hand size is.
Yes.
Yes.
He's like, what your hand size is? She's like, what?
How big are your hands?
Are they petite? Oh, yeah, they're nice and petite. I need them over.
So
so he's got to. It's a disgusting scene. He's got to replace the arc reactor because this old one, was powering the first suit, which took a lot of the juice out. Lack of a better term, I guess. So he put in a new one, and she had like take the cords out, and she puts the new one like. He's like, it's like, what's the game? It's like surgery. It's like, he's like
operator.
He's like, I don't know what that is. He's like, it's a game. Don't worry about it. Just
like, if
can
you
we
touch
just
the sides, you'll hear a beep.
Can we just talk about how deep that cylinder is? By the way, that would be touching his heart. Second off, all the juice and stuff on the inside. Didn't he say that's like discharge from the arc reactor itself?
Yeah, from the reactor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
Also,
like his body fluids and
the
stuff.
actual like makeup part of it was very well done.
Yeah.
Because
it's a fake chest.
How far her hand went in for it also to be a fake chest is insane.
It's just like his head, like sitting on like a fake chest and body.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that. Okay.
And then my favorite part is all you got to do is make sure you don't pull out the cord.
She yanks it right out.
Immediately.
I'm just going through cardiac arrest. That's okay.
Yeah, she puts it in, and she's like, I'm never doing that again. He's like, well, I have to. I only have you. You have to do it. And I'm like, oh, Tony's all alone.
Is this where she says that she only has him too, or something? Or is that later?
I think so.
I think this is their little heart to heart.
Yeah. So he's like, all I have is you. And she goes, well, Mr. Stark, all I have is you as well.
Yeah, and then Tony talks to Obadiah, and he's like, I want to do something more than just build weapons. He's like, he's not, but what we learn here is Stain he's totally comfortable with being what he calls the ironmongers. We are weapons mongers. He's totally fine with selling weapons to whoever needs them. And Tony wants to be something more than that. So, yeah, he starts on the Mark II, which
I think that's where
sick.
Obadiah shows a little interest in his arc reactor in his chest too. He goes, "Let me see that."
And he goes, "Who told you?"
Sorority.
Which that's pretty cool. I mean, he is the only person in the entire world with this thing in his chest now.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he's the only person in the world who needs it. Also.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the terrorists are finding the parts to his. I guess so. They call themselves like the 10 Rings.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting later.
Mm-hmm.
So they're finding the old parts to his suit, and then it cuts back to Tony, and he's doing like a montage of like testing the suit and all sorts of different things, which shows again how smart he is, because in like 11, he says it's like day 11, testing flights. He already knows how to fly in 11 days.
He sets it at 10% power, and it shoots him into the wall.
And then he falls on a bunch of, and then Dummy has the extinguisher, like the fire extinguisher.
His first robot he ever built at MIT is named Dummy, because it cannot do anything correct.
Which is kind of interesting too, because like it shows where Tony was then compared to where he is now, of like intelligence wise.
I love those little arm things. They make the movies, and I like how they do hold up throughout the movies as well. But
Little Dummy, throughout the movie, whenever Tony like messes up, he'll shoot him with the fire extinguisher.
You know how they shot that scene, by the way?
Which one?
Every previous like flying scene done in Hollywood and whatnot, they basically just had a harness, and they strapped him on a harness, and they just had to act. But like they just moved their legs and stuff with a stationary body. When they shot this one, they actually hooked the wires to his feet, and he had to stabilize himself on those wires. Obviously, he had other wires to hold him up, so he didn't fall.
That makes sense though, because like you can see with like his upper body movement though, because like he's trying to do all this,
which made it more realistic, because that was like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's the first time it's done in Hollywood, but it's the first time really it hit off, and it looked amazing.
Yeah.
Compared to other fight scenes.
No, it looks like he's like legit like
trying to
balance himself while flying.
Yeah.
So which is also fun because he doesn't get it, the first try. He has to experiment over and over again.
So 10% shot him into the wall. He was at 1%, and it lifted him off of the ground. So he went to 2.5, and this was where he could fly around. And dude,
he's like, yeah, I can fly now. Yeah.
He flew over his cars. He's like, this is not where I want to be. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here.
Dude, he singes the cars in all of his paper. Like, these are like expensive cars. So he's testing the suit. He's building out. So he makes the first, like, it's a completely like silver suit.
Yes.
Which is not iron, which we learn it's
like titanium.
Gold titanium alloy or something like that. It's like a mix of different stuff. But hey, Iron Man sounds cooler than gold titanium Iron Man.
Of course.
So and then he's like, Jarvis, sometimes you gotta run before you walk. So none of these tests are done, but he just goes out and flies.
I'm not gonna lie, I think this Mark II suit is probably my favorite in the movies. It's close second for 3. I'm not gonna say there's definitely cooler suits out there, like cooler powers. Like even in the second movie, right? The weapons he has is cooler.
Yeah.
And like the nanotech and all that stuff.
This first suit up though is sick.
One, it's nostalgic for me a little bit, but also two, it's like the most realistic looking suit with mechanical moving parts he had to make. It looks like real steel, and they combined CGI and a real suit for this one. So like in these newer movies, they don't look real anymore because it's all strictly CGI. The only thing they added CGI is in this one is just a little small effects to get the the glimmer of the metal and stuff,
Which
and obviously the moving parts.
I know I will agree. This suit here, I think it does look better than the later suits.
I think the suit up itself was very like mechanical, which is obviously what it would have been.
For like
it
his
was
for like his first suit. Yeah, obviously he's gonna make better ones, which so they'll probably look different.
But like it threw screwdrivers into it and started twisting like as hard as it could, and that like the machines just came together and it was really, really cool.
Plus, it looks like the strongest because like it looks like real steel at this point, and not just these little nano things. And so that's why I like it the most.
Yes.
So where does he go in the Mach 2?
He just flies
Everywhere.
around. He just flies around.
Around the Ferris wheel somewhere, I don't know, whatever.
He says hi to a kid.
Okay.
And then he goes up into space.
Yes, yeah.
And then we learn that the suit is not exactly ready for the deep coldness of space because it freezes. And he's just falling to the ground. Like
the fact he made a mechanical, like we call it manual flap opener, and this thing is genius. Who would have thought of that?
I mean, probably a guy who's about to put his entire body in this thing made of metal.
Yeah, and we'll see it used again later, which is pretty cool. And then so he's like, he barely saves himself. He about crashes into the like street below.
Yeah, no, he
skims it.
He skims the ground and almost hits cars.
And he flies back, and then he's like,
no.
He tries to land on the roof.
Oh no, I forgot about
he's like, he's like, yeah, disengage flight or whatever, and he just lands through the roof onto the car, and it's like, oh.
I actually do appreciate this one because it shows like a suit made of all but nothing but metal.
Yeah,
is not light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then Dummy sprays him with more fire extinguisher.
Yes, he wasn't even on fire.
Dummy is out here. He's helping.
I did learn though that car he squashes was not a real car.
No.
So he didn't crush some like because everybody on set loved the cars. Like it's a big thing, and so they brought in a replica. All the cars are real besides the one that crashed because they weren't gonna do that to like a multi-million-dollar car.
Yeah,
just out of the budget, you know.
I mean, obviously.
What if you mess up the scene? Like I gotta redo.
So like Tony's been like in his basement, like building this stuff, like letting nobody else down there. But then also because Obadiah has told him to like stay out of the media and don't just keep it chill for a while. But then Tony's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to this party.
Well, first he had the pizza meeting with Jebediah.
Obadiah.
Same thing.
Jebediah.
Who knows?
Jebediah.
Obadiah. And he said that the shareholders didn't think that he was ready to come back.
Yeah.
He thought that he had PTSD and didn't want to do.
They
weapons
sanctioned something on him to like basically kick him out of his own company.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what the term was, but it was like they were gonna freeze his assets. Basically, they were gonna like kick him out.
I'm just saying, if any superhero is out there, don't go public with your company because like the same thing happened with the Green Goblin, right? They kicked him out of his own like Oscorp, remember?
Oh yeah.
And that sent him into a rampage. Yeah. Bro, imagine if
That
Iron
would
Man
do
was
it.
an evil guy.
I don't want to because that would not be good.
It's there's a version of him in the comic books. Iron Man Superior, where he's he's a total, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I know comics.
Yeah. So then he goes to that party, and then like afterwards, well, he has a little dance with Pepper, which is nice, and then like they have a little connection there, a little flame. So it's like they kind of know that they like each other there.
Oh, for sure.
So then after the party, they're on the steps and they're like taking pictures and stuff, and then Obadiah whispers into his ear.
Who do you think was trying to kick you out of the company?
Obadiah
Turns out
tried to kick him out of his own company.
Why would you admit that, honestly?
bad guy, not good person.
Well, he tells him that he's like, I was trying to protect you, and I'm like, this is like, no, he's a bad dude. He's a bad dude.
And then right after that, right? Doesn't what do you call her? What do you call her? Oh gosh.
The reporter girl.
Reporter. I can't think of reporter. Does she come up, right?
She's like, look at these pictures. Look what's going on here. You're still selling weapons. He's like, I have no idea this is happening. How is this happening? Like, how are my weapons getting there?
Right. I think that's when he went to talk to Jebediah.
Obadiah.
Dude, I'm terrible with names.
And then,
Then we get the cool scene where he's
so basically he figures out, though, that Obadiah has been, like, selling these weapons to, like, the black market and the terrorists. And also he tried to kick Tony out of his, he's like, so I can't even trust this guy anymore.
I'm pretty sure he admitted to, like, he is the one that got Tony captured right there.
Yeah.
Wasn't that? Or
Not,
was that a little bit later?
I think it's a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does do that, where he's like messing with his arm, and he sees it on the TV at these people, and then he gets the hot rod red and gold, which is sick.
That was right before the
party.
The party. Right before the party, he got his colors, and then he went to the party, found out about the place in Kizekis.
I don't know.
Middle East somewhere.
But that's also where we learned how he fixed the freezing problem too.
True.
He got some alloy from
He changed the
on
material.
The space station, which is like,
It was like a golden alloy.
Yeah.
So the entire suit was gold.
and he just painted the other parts red,
Right.
which is a cool
For a little hot rod red, and then he goes and kicks some. Well, he kills some terrorists.
Yeah. Some pretty bad guys.
I love the tank scene from that little fight. He just dodges a tank bullet or whatever his shell.
Well, no, he gets hit by it, but
No, okay, yeah. When he's flying, he gets hit by it, but he shoots another one. He just kind of like leans out of the way.
yeah, dodges it.
And he shoots his little tiny little rocket.
And then he leaves the last guy. He's like, he's all yours. And then he flies away. And then the Air Force is like, what is that thing?
Yes.
which is the only time in the whole MCU where like the U.S. military is like involved at all.
And they're trying to kill him.
And they're trying to kill Tony immediately.
And we're still ignoring the Hulk at this point, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
obviously.
okay. Because they
Yeah, that
definitely
one
tried killing him.
That one doesn't exist. That doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. It
Doesn't
matter.
make
Kind
sense.
of like Green Lantern. We just don't talk about
Don't
it.
talk about it.
Anything with a green hero, we just forget about it.
And yeah, instead of like trying to talk to it or like find out what it is, there's like blow it up right now, because like it's flying in like a military airspace.
They did.
And it took out one of the planes on
They
accident.
did try, because the first thing to do, they called up Tony, because we don't know anybody that can do this besides him.
Yeah.
So they
And
at
then
least
Tony's like,
tried.
"No, I'm riding with the windows down."
I'm running. And he goes, why is it windy? Oh, I'm in my car. You just said
You
you're
said
running.
you're running.
His
Like,
stories
Tony-
not go together.
And then they shoot at him. He's like, "Okay, yeah, it's me. I'm up here." And then he flies,
And then
like
he's
knocks
like,
into a
no,
plane.
it's actually me. They think that it's just one of his drones.
Yeah.
And he's like, no,
I'm
it's
actually in the
it's
suit.
actually me.
So then he accidentally knocks into one of the planes, and then the chute doesn't go off.
For the plane.
But then Tony flies down real quick, and like
He breaks the emergency chute.
so like the chute goes off. So it's all good.
Yes. Very good.
Army guy lives.
But they also still try to kill him. So.
Can't you play it off as some training accident?
Tony, it's not going to be that simple. And it immediately cuts to him.
We had a training accident where a stealth bomber went down.
Yes.
And he's like, and we do not know what happened to this big town.
Yes. And then I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but it cuts to like a bunch of black SUVs driving at the 10 Rings base.
Yes.
And Obadiah gets out of the car, and we realize that he's been working with them the whole time. He's been selling weapons to them the whole time, and he is
The bad guy.
he's the bad guy. He put a hit out on Tony.
Yeah. So this is where we find out that he's the one who put the hit out on him. Where
Ooh,
Because
Right?
he's basically chastising them for not doing
not
a good
killing
job.
Tony, and it's like, and then basically the terrorists are like, "You didn't tell us that he was a super mega genius."
tell
And
us that our hit was the mega
Tony.
genius,
Yeah.
Tony Stark.
And then so Obadiah's looking at the suit. He runs his finger around like the circle, and he's like, "All right, so my scientists can't build it for me. You guys can't get it for me because he didn't kill him, or he didn't make it for you guys." He's like, "So how am I going to get this thing?" And then my favorite scene in the movie, though, it's like a little bit earlier, but like, Tony built this in a cave with a box of scraps. Dude, I love that. I love that line.
Bro,
So this is where we find out about the hidden drive, right?
Yes.
And Tony finds out
Ghost
Jebediah-
Drive.
Obadiah. Dude, I'm gonna just keep saying it.
Jobadiah.
I want to cut to real quick before all that is right after the whole fight scene over in the seas and sands when he's kicking all the terrorists' butt.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back and Pepper comes downstairs to find him in the giant contraption.
Yes.
He can't get it off. He can't get the suit off.
And he says one line. He goes, "You've seen me do worse."
Yeah. Are those bullet holes? It's like it's a genuine concern because those are big bullet holes in his armor.
Yeah. They're not good.
Not good. But then Obadiah paralyzes everybody because he's got like this hearing device, high pitched thing, like paralyzes you. Which, sure,
He said,
that's probably
I
a
don't know why
thing.
they didn't like this. I don't know why the U.S. government didn't like this. This is great. It really works for paralyzing people for about 15 minutes.
One guy in your troop doesn't put his earplugs in right. That man's incapacitated.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
And then so it's I can't remember what he says to him. It's like you guys are basically it's like, yeah, technology's never been a strong suit of this side of the country. And it's like, ooh, what do you mean by that, Obadiah? And then he leaves and he was like, execute him or whatever. So like they kill a bunch of these terrorists. So it's bad guys killing bad guys.
So is he a bad guy at that point?
He's
I think he was a bad guy to
worse.
begin with.
He's a worse guy. But then we talk a little. There's a line there. It's like where Tony leaves like the worst. He left like the worst part of himself in the cave, and he's like trying to do better. And he's like sitting on his couch, and then you hear the high pitched ring again, and then Obadiah's in there, and he takes the arc reactor out of his chest, and then he says everything that he's going to do. Like he says, I took the hit on you. He's like, yeah, I would have much rather left Pepper alive, but, you know.
She knows
Yeah.
now.
Oh, that's because he sent her into his office
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get all the secret drives.
And, yes, and then, so he tells Tony what he's going to do, which you
It
can,
makes sense because Tony's incapacitated and is going to die because
he doesn't have a heart.
Yeah.
Which,
Straight up does not have a heart.
as far as Obadiah knows, Tony's going to die right now.
Can we just talk about the fact that Tony Stark created this arc reactor in a cave and has rebuilt
With a
better
box of
version
scraps.
a brand new version of it in his basement not even a week ago. And somehow Obadiah has a certain device to easily abstract this thing through a shirt, which takes out the shirt as well. Yeah. Like it perfectly fits the thing too, you know? It just doesn't make sense. He just has the thing to abstract.
I
from
don't
his,
think it's that weird that he has something that can grasp it.
Well, Tony Stark didn't plan on removing it from his chest, and he didn't have a device to put it in either.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's that big of a stretch.
It is.
He'll figure something out.
No, not really, because it's not because he knows what it is. He's seen it. He's seen the reactor before, so he knows what it is, and he knows how big it needs to be to rip it out. So
You
it's
don't
not
know
that.
the specs.
Oh my god.
That's why it was a retractable one. So he got it big, and then he could make it small.
Not that big of a deal.
Riley's got to figure it out.
So Tony is basically in a fever dream again because he doesn't have a heart at this very moment. So he's getting down to his downstairs lab.
Yeah, because he's dying, so he doesn't look that good. He's sweating. His eyes are like
The man's
his eyes are like
gray.
yellow, and
He gets all the way over to
so close. He's so
so
close.
close. And here comes the hero of the entire show.
Bro, if Dummy's not here, Tony dies and the movie's
Oh
over.
yeah, dummy he knocks
knocks it over to him.
thing off the table.
Tony's like, good boy, and he like smashes it. And we forgot about that. We
Dummy
forgot
was
about
alive.
that gift from Pepper.
Yeah,
The proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Tony wanted to destroy it.
Yeah.
because he doesn't have any kind of like
Attachment.
he doesn't have an attachment to anything.
we
And probably also a deal he doesn't want anybody else to have it.
Yeah, that's another thing.
But it's a good thing that
Good
she
thing
got-
that he did. So yeah, Obadiah and Tony, they he puts the thing in his heart and he gets into his suit and
Oh,
and then
Rhodey.
Rhodey shows up, yeah. And he looks at the silver suit and he's like, "Next time, baby." And I'm like, "Well, not you specifically, but
the character will.
yeah."
Yeah.
And I think Pepper catches wind of all the nonsense because she's been talking with Shield this whole time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the entire movie, Coulson's been trying to get an appointment with Tony, and Pepper just keeps blowing him off because like there's more important things. And as she's walking away, she's like, "Appointment right now. Let's go right now," because like Obadiah is like hot on her trail.
Obadiah's office.
What do you think that they wanted to talk to him about? You think it was just Shield? What do you call it? Or do you think just in general that they knew Obadiah was doing dirty deeds? Which one do you think it is?
I mean, it has to be the Avengers Initiative.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. They didn't really clarify that, right? Until the second movie, really. They try asking. But
yeah. So then we get this huge fight scene because they find out where Obadiah is, and he has the arc reactor now. So you get this huge fight scene between Tony with his old arc reactors. They can barely power his suit. And Jebediah with this.
It's at 15%, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like when he starts. Like this arc reactor's at 15%, which he does quite a bit with 15%.
Yeah, so we get this big fight scene between is it Killmonger or Warmonger?
Ironmonger.
I'm sure both of those other two are people.
One's from Black Panther.
Oh,
Warmonger.
And then just because I love to hate on Captain Marvel, another inconsistency. So this whole movie is. Agent Coulson keeps referring to the Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division,
and
they're like, yeah, you need an acronym for that. He's like, you need to shorten that up. Well, in Captain Marvel, which is set in the 90s, years before this movie they refer to it as Shield, and I'm like, kind of a continuity error.
They probably should have known that,
Probably should have. All you got to do is watch this first movie.
Yeah, watch the first one you put out.
So yeah, they has fight, and also something Jarvis says that this arc reactor was not sustained for flight because like the first suit couldn't really fly.
Yeah.
So it makes
flying all the way across.
He's flying a lot,
city.
so it would make sense that it drains the power like a lot.
So we get this big fight scene between
on top of the first reactor. Which is huge.
Arc reactor.
Well, they go through the city a little bit before then.
True, they're chucking cars at people.
Dude, people die. People die everywhere.
I'm gonna argue that
at least 5
I'm pretty sure for the most part people are safe in that first encounter.
That bus.
No.
Did they get out of that bus?
Yeah, there's nobody in the bus.
Okay.
How do you know?
Because you see people running out of the bus.
You're in a panic, you forget your baby, bam, baby's dead. I'm just saying.
If you're a good parent in that situation, your first thought is my baby.
So in this scenario,
oh my goodness, that's a giant dude in an iron suit. I'm getting out of here.
Plus, why would they show him saving people?
True.
Because Obadiah picks up a car with people in it and chucks it at Tony, and then Tony's like power to like his chest, so he shoots Obadiah away, and then like Tony catches the car. Which
screw that lady, by the way.
Yeah. Yo, what is up with that? She
slams
like
the gas.
Tony's like holding onto the car. She slams it, so he like gets caught under the car, and he's like hanging on the base, like lady, chill out.
And she's flooring it.
He just saved her, and he runs him over. So then they fly back to the.
They just fly
the main arc reactor.
No, they fly up.
Yes.
And then he's like Tony. My suit is superior to yours in every way. He's like, okay, how'd you solve the ice problem? He's like,
what ice problem?
Ice problem. So
I want to think about
they separate themselves, and then you go bonk on his.
That was pretty funny.
And so Obadiah is like falling, all the way down to Earth, and then Tony like he's like running out of power, so like he falls, and he's like
catches himself,
falls a little bit, catches himself, falls.
He only has one little booster going too. He had his foot crushed.
Yeah.
So
he's only using one foot in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
So Tony lands on top of the building. Turns out Obadiah's not dead.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Obadiah lands on the building too.
How did it not destroy the building as well? Can we just talk about that?
Good roof.
Good roof. I don't know.
Tony dropped on his own roof, which is a well-designed building because it's by him. And he had a couple feet, and he broke through like 3 stories.
I mean, it's entirely possible that he landed just in the vicinity of the building, not actually on the building, because he like jumps up on the building.
That's true. I get it.
And so they have another fight, and like Tony's kind of spent here because like
He's out of power.
he's out of power, and his suit is like he doesn't have a hand. Like he goes to shoot him, and the part
He
of his
took
hand's gone.
He took his hand off because it was like freezing up because
Yeah.
he can't use it.
And yeah, he like you said, he doesn't have a rocket, so he can't really fly like that well anymore. And then so he's just getting shot at. But what Tony does first, which I didn't catch that, he takes out Obadiah's camera so he can't see.
Yeah.
So he has to like open up his like protective like face and everything.
Which is I didn't realize that because like
And also he turns off his targeting system.
yeah.
Yeah, he reaches into his suit. He goes, "This looks important." and rips it
Yoink.
out.
He really like knows about the suit.
Well, yeah, he designed it
His,
off
his own suit has the camera system as well because you can't see through the eyes.
Right.
But
There's like a HUD system.
yeah, at the same time, how do you prevent that from breaking?
Okay, for first off, Tony's suit is seamless, right? But this other guy's is big, bulky, and has all these giant moving parts that has to rotate. So there's these giant cracks that he
Yeah.
can reach into. So
And I imagine Tony, he doesn't probably exactly know, but he's basing it off his own suit to where like these things are in his suit. So he's
Yeah,
like,
that
I'm
makes
gonna.
sense.
This is where my thing would be, so I'm gonna destroy it.
See, the thing is, Tony knew the improvements that need to be made to the previous suit, right? So he knows all the flaws and stuff that came along with it. Well, Obadiah is only basing his suit off that first one. He's not making improvements off
Yeah.
it. I guess he did with the flight systems and stuff and making it bigger and
put
Try
stronger.
added machine guns to both hands.
But he's trying to model that first suit, while
Yeah.
Tony Stark is trying.
I didn't
to
even
improve it.
I didn't even notice that. It happens in the first movie, but you'll see this later throughout when certain bad things happen to people in suits. Like Tony will upgrade the suit so that thing doesn't happen again.
Yeah. So here we have that fight scene.
Yes, another
And
fight scene part 2.
Tony talks to Pepper and is like, "Hey, shut down all of the excess power and run it into the arc reactor, and then open the arc reactor."
Blow it up.
Yeah. So
He's like,
Tony pulls Ironmonger over to the opening above the arc reactor.
And there's like glass and stuff, and
Dude, they love glass in this.
there's a
movie.
lot of glass.
There's a lot of glass.
There's a lot of glass.
It's dramatic when it breaks.
So
So Tony's hanging on top of this thing,
yeah.
and Obadiah has to get closer because, like we said, his targeting system's off. So he's like shooting missiles at him, and he
He's like,
can't
"Don't
hit,
move."
he can't hit him. I think he calls him. He's like, "Don't move, you little prick." So he's shooting stuff at him, and he finally gets it. So he tells Pepper to, hit the button, and this big wave goes off, and like Tony gets out of there.
No, he doesn't.
So
He gets pushed by the wave originally and
yeah.
falls onto the. I don't know how Ironmonger, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
gets-
Ironmonger.
gets hit with it because he's pretty far away.
Well, he's a
compared
giant
to where
grounding
Tony
rod,
is.
basically. Even though the building would act as one too,
True, I didn't
he's
think
a
about that.
giant metal piece of.
I also wonder if since Tony's suit is like off at this point and has no reaction to it, while Ironmonger's suit is still powered up, so like it overloads his suit and it.
I was wondering that too. I was going to ask you guys, but that was my theory, right? His arc reactor is running out of power. That's the reason why he couldn't even move his own suit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm feeling at that point, it kind of reminds me of the first Avengers movie. I feel like it more just powered it back up because there's no systems actively running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, so another thing we'll see it a lot later, that Tony's willing to sacrifice himself a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it immediately in this first movie because Pepper says, it'll kill you too. And he's like, just do it. Like, if it stops him, then I'll die.
Good for him.
Go for him. And then, yeah, so he did.
Yeah. And so then we go to the press conference, right?
Yeah,
After
another one. Yep.
another press conference, and he goes, "Last time I was here, I said some crazy things." Right?
Coulson right before gives him his alibi. It's like,
Gives
this
him
is
his alibi,
this is
an
what you were
entire-
really doing.
An entire note card system. It was like, read these, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Tony goes in there. He starts trying to read them, and then they ask him a question like, "Was that a bodyguard up on the top of Stark Tower or whatever?" And he's like, "You know what? It'd be cool if I was a superhero, right? But
I'm just not the hero type.
I'm just not the hero type."
We didn't say hero.
Yeah, we didn't
call
say
you
hero. He goes, oh.
Well, yeah, because I'm not. That would be ridiculous and fantastic.
Yeah. And so then he just
Little pause.
straight up goes, I am Iron
I
Man.
am Iron Man.
And then
And then
that's
everybody loses it, and then boom, end.
Wasn't that one also ad-lib too? He wasn't actually supposed to say I am Iron Man.
I don't know.
I have no idea. That's the coolest part of the movie.
It's pretty sick.
And then doesn't Iron Man play?
I don't know.
They should.
There's a
I
lot
think
of.
they
I know there's a lot of AC/DC
Yes,
in this movie.
it does, because it goes to credits and it shows like his helmet on his head.
Yeah.
Where it
Because
was.
like in the beginning of this one, which AC/DC and like these movies go hand in hand, because like the first start of it is Back in Black,
Yeah.
and then later we'll see Shoot the Thrill, which it's very good. And no, it was a heck of a movie to like start off with, because
Lots of
like-
action, lots of
drama, lots
Yeah.
of and this is also another story of like this character of Tony Stark he's obviously by no means perfect. He's still working on a lot of stuff to like make himself like the best possible him. But like just like in the comic books, just like in these movies, it's like the flaws in our character. I'll probably say this again. It's the flaws in our character that make us kind of interested towards them.
yeah.
Because sometimes it's relatable. And also, you know, Tony does a fair bit of growth here. He started off as a rich millionaire who didn't care whose weapon.
Alcoholic. He said,
You know, he was partying, didn't care what weapons he was selling people to, but then he took accountability. He realized that there was bad things going on, and he also understands the power that he has within his suits. He doesn't want anybody else to have them, which
makes sense.
is fair amount. It's pretty understandable, and it shows a fair amount of growth. But yeah, Tony's going to be a great character throughout these movies. Definitely one of my favorite, not my absolute favorite, but he's pretty close. But yeah, it's a heck of a start to the
How
MCU.
would you rate the movie?
It's pretty solid. I'd say 8.
8? Okay. I mean, it's going to be better than Captain Marvel, because
Yeah.
it's not. This one's actually funny. You know, the
actually
funny
fun-
parts are funny. So I mean, I'd have to give it. What did I give Captain Marvel, a 6?
We did like 4.
5?
I think we did pretty. I think you did better than me. And
I think I
Dev.
gave it a 6. So I mean, obviously this would have to be way higher than that. So I'd give it like an 8.
8. I'd
Yeah.
give it. I'm thinking an 8 to a 9, somewhere
It's
in there.
2008 CGI.
Yeah, CGI.
There
but
are
it still
some-
looks great.
There
though.
are some janky moments with the
The hand part, like at the end when he takes off the glove, you
Yeah.
can definitely tell at that
Yeah,
part.
that was yeah.
But I do like this movie. It's nostalgic for me, so I do put it up there higher. So, but I want to let you guys know I did look up the reasoning behind it. I can't find official sources, but there's Quora, and there's 2 things. So it's like same thing we thought. Since it was below, his arc reactor didn't get overloaded like Jebediah's, which is why
Obadiah.
Jebediah died, and it just charged it. Jebediah, you got me saying that.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
And then there's the second one showing that the blast was just the initial surge, and so it blew him out of the way,
Yeah.
and then the electricity followed, which is
So-
why he was off to the side and Jebediah was standing right at the opening.
So kind of like
Obadiah.
by total accident. So almost by like kind of total accident that
Yeah.
Tony lived.
Yeah, no, he
Was it
shouldn't have.
fake?
All right.
But yeah, no, overall great movie, great start to the MCU.
This is the original first.
Original first movie, yeah. So this is like the third one that we're watching, and I think it's only going to get better from here.
For sure.
So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let us know at our email, which is silverscreenpod@gmail.com. And thank you for listening.